Dr. Susan Murrmann. I think this is about, they do a doctor's show here, but this is not the show for you. This is the show about music, right, Susan?
It's about music, Memphis music.
And also the first question people ask me, and I never asked you, was how did Susan get to Memphis from Chicago?
Well, it was actually by car. No, I'm just kidding. I drove here from Chicago actually to finish up studying medicine at the University of Tennessee. And I finished up 2 years, and just like everybody, Memphis grows on you. The history, the music, the culture. You meet a lot of interesting people, and I ended up staying and starting my own private practice here. And that's how I got to know the music world, because I hung out with a lot of the musicians, and just the culture of music was so amazing, and it was so rich and so raw and so real. I stayed here, and I could have a practice and stay involved with Memphis and promoting Memphis.
Susan, what I was going to ask you first of all and foremost is that you're involved in a very important part of Memphis music in that the notes on Beale Street.
Yeah,
they're very historic things to do. And tell us about that, how people get nominated and so forth and so on.
Well, it started 25 years ago with John Elkington, who was running Beale Street. And he decided to do a Memphis Music Walk of Fame, sort of like Hollywood Walk of Fame, but called the Beale Street Brass Notes. He was doing that for a while. You know, the first note actually went to Peter Guralnick, who's the music author. And so he was the very first note. We're on 149 now, but he started getting some other people like me and Pat Worley Mitchell involved with the actual note process and voting. And there's several people on the board. We nominate, we vote, and we've given out 149 so far. And it's been going on for 25 years. Yeah.
Because my note is in front of Alfred's on Beale Street.
Right.
Johnny Robinson sponsored that, but when he was with us, and also Elvis's note is right there in front of Alfred's, and Jerry Schilling is on one side of Elvis, and I'm on the other. And a lot of people go down, you would imagine, Susan, if you can, during Elvis, and they bring a little cloth, and they clean up Elvis' note, you know, and make it look nice and pretty.
Well, let me say that your note needs a little polishing. I was just there.
It needs a whole lot of polishing.
It needs some polishing.
They polish Elvis, and they don't polish my note. But how can people get involved with you guys on that committee and everything?
Well, they can go to bealestreet.com, and that has a whole informational area on the Beale Street notes. It has them all numbered. But the problem is we lack funds, because just like you and everybody else, when they get a note, it has to be sponsored by somebody, or actually the family has to come up with some money. Right now, fortunately, it's not much money. It's like $600, but it used to be a lot more, because we had to have the notes printed and engraved, and then you have to put it in the concrete in a certain way. But it's so historic just to see who all's nominated, and just to walk down the street and look at all these notes, and it just makes you proud, and also tells a very big story of Memphis and music. And it's underfunded right now. Dean Deo is in charge. He used to be with the Memphis Music Commission. That's gone away, but we're running a private organization now. We're planning on having a fundraiser next year. Hopefully Steve Cropper did say he'd play for us and get a band together, and because Booker T is up for their note presentation next year. So we're going to try to put that all together and get a fundraiser so we can actually get more money, and so it won't burden the musicians with the money to get their brass note.
Well, Susan, people have asked me, and they knew you were going to be with us today, and they want to know, how can they nominate people they think should have a note on Beale Street?
Well, they just contact the Beale Street note. You can look on the website and get the phone number. We take all the nominations. We have a very large committee. We do a very big voting process. We vet everybody that's been nominated. We have Richard Ranta, who is just so knowledgeable about music at the University of Memphis. They can actually get us all the information, and so we get profiles just about on everybody. And see, and some people are young, and we don't think that they need the note, but they roll down into the next category. So we try to do about 12 notes a year, and but it's just a great. I mean, just when we did the 149th, we did it for John Hampton, who was of Arden Studios, and it was amazing. And the family is so grateful, because, you know, John passed away. But they just had tears in their eyes, and they were just so thrilled that he could be memorialized like that, to have that brass note and to have it placed in Beale Street. And it just gives me goosebumps to think about it, because it means a lot, to not only to the fans, to the musician, but to their family. And it just tells a great story of Memphis music.
And a lot of tourists come in and they walk up
Yeah.
and down Beale Street taking pictures and checking that out.
Yeah, and we'd like to get like a walking tour. You know how you could put a headset on
Yeah.
and hear the actual stories of
Good
all
idea.
the and so that's part of what the money would be raised for. We need about $20,000. But, I want to make this fundraiser. Steve was very generous to say he'd play for free and we'd make it a big party, present Booker T and the MGs with their note, which they're coming up, and then, have some auction items from everybody that's actually had something to do with a note. And maybe they could auction off. Mark James could give us, one of his, signed lyrics or something.
Yeah. He's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's great. He's great. But when he called me up, I was like, I saved that message on my phone, just like I've saved yours.
I can talk about Mark. We wrote 8 songs together.
Oh, wow.
Mine were not hits. His were, Moody Blue, Eyes of a New York Woman, Hooked on a Feeling. He wrote some but his greatest song, and I told him when he was here, I said, Mark, do you know why, other than the fact that Elvis recorded it and did a great job on it, it was produced by Chips and American, I said, but Mark, that was the first adult rock and roll song Elvis ever sang. Think about that.
Wow.
Hold on, got a feeling, can't get out, caught in a trap. People could relate to those lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, Mark, you did a marvelous job on that. And Elvis really sold that song.
Oh, it was amazing.
And like you said, it's actually now my favorite song of Elvis.
Yeah.
Suspicious Mind. Well, Susan, Dr. Susan Maryland, I'll probably see you at a function before I see you somewhere else, but you're everywhere, girl.
I try to be. It's fun.
Thanks for coming down
All right,
today.
thank you so much.
Dr. Susan Murrmann, George Klein, Memphis Sounds.